Hi, I'm Jeff Furlot, and welcome back to our channel, Being Human. Today, I'd like to discuss something that's been the narrative all week, really, at work, and it has a lot to do with the client's fear of going home, and it gives them a lot of anxiety to know that they've got to reconnect with the loved ones that saw them at their worst. And if you're still in their lives, those that are watching this, because this is geared towards you, the families, the people that love their person that's in addiction, they're really afraid of what you're going to do when they get home. This video is really for you. It's for the family member. It's for the loved one. It's for the best friend. It's for the boss. The most important people in the lives of this person that's been suffering from addiction for a long time. I'm hoping that this will be a guide that will make it a little easier for the transition to come home. So if we'll take it from the perspective of a spouse, okay? So when a person gets sober and they come to the realization that this is the path that they're going to stay on, they start to get clear. They're going through a lot of anxiety and guilt and shame, and they're really frightened about because some statements get made that this is the last straw, and why don't you just stop? It's one of my favorite ones. If you're the kind of person that made that statement, then you need to probably watch this further so you can understand that once you're using is a choice until it isn't. And what I mean by that is that once the addiction starts in, using regularly for about 2 weeks, 12 days, and the addiction kicks in, it isn't a choice anymore. It does not, you learn to live with it, not live with it, but you need it, if that makes sense. This is what happens psychologically. So once again, so this video is for you. If you're ready for a battle to come home when that person comes home, that's the wrong approach. You may be pissed off, you may be hurt. You're probably hurt more because you love this person so much that it was hard for you to watch them do this to themselves. Now, you don't know this, but they are very aware of that. First of all, when we start to talk about these things at the center where I work, my wife hates me, my kids won't talk to me, my parents, forget it. Everybody in my life has left me. If you love somebody who's in addiction and you don't know what to do, that's okay. It's not really your job to understand why they do those things. It's their job to understand. And then through clarity, they'll be able to kind of guide you through what they need from you if you're willing to go on that trip with them. And I think you should, because when somebody is in active addiction and they do the work and they continue to do the work, they come to an understanding that is so solid and so strong and they reach that level of gratitude because they defeated their dragon. They've taken on their monster, and that builds up a cachet of confidence. Okay? So when they come home, you don't know how to act, and neither do they. You're worried it's going to happen again. That's your biggest worry. I know that's what it is. I've spoken to enough families. Well, what if he does this again? That's a possibility. That addiction's a funny thing. But if you get somebody that really kicks in with this and they do their work, the chances are the more time they spend away from their drug of choice, the first year of sobriety is so crucial. If you love this person enough to fight for them, and you have in the past, you've been through this a lot. I'm not saying you haven't. You've been through quite a bit. It is not easy to watch somebody suffer. Get it. They need your understanding, and they need your love, and they need your support. They're not to be treated like somebody who is crippled. That doesn't work. They need your love. That's big. In order to do that, you need to really relate to them and understand they're not going to be the person they were when they left 28 days ago, 3 months ago, however long they were in treatment. That was the idea, right? You wanted them to completely change. But you listening to this got used to the person that they were. Totally understandable. You got used to it quite innocently. And that's scary. And I have said to many clients, because I know this personally and I know this from working in this field, that the reason why they have an aversion to you at this point is to protect themselves, to protect their heart. When I say this to clients, I know that this is true because when I've spoken to their families, they have told me in so many words that this has happened, that you scared them. You scared them so much that they were going to lose you. In a way, they shut down on you. And if you're hearing this and you're a person that has done this, then you know what I'm talking about. They're in recovery, but you are too. You are recovering from a life that you had no control over. You are recovering from a traumatic experience of watching somebody you care about just throw it away. And that's normal. It's relatively normal. If you have a heart and you care about these people and you back them, then there's a new path that you're going on that you're going to have to catch up with them, because they're going to come home and they will be different. If they've done everything right and they're sunk in with them, they will be different. And you have to get used to that new person. I don't think I'm out of line by saying this, that my wife had to get used to. She even said this to me: I feel like I'm dating somebody new. And that was hard to hear. But I remember I joked, well, is he taller than me? In time, I could see the walls coming down and her softening. And the better I did, she stuck it out. She's amazing. And my kids, super amazing. That was a different thing because I scared them too. And that's a really difficult thing to come to terms with. But it's reality, and it's what happened. So this particular thing that you've both gone through, it's got two different perspectives. It's, I need to straighten my life out, and I've started the path, and I went through treatment, and I went to detox, and then I'm learning how to live again. Remember, it's not about sobriety. It's about learning how to live again in a different way than I was used to. Same with you, mom, dad, spouse, husband, wife, whatever, friend. You're learning how to live again on this new path with this person. If you've been together with somebody for a long time, you've had a good relationship, and then they veer off the course and it gets a little crazy and it scares you, but you stick it out and you're supporting them through this process. They're going to come home, and you're used to, when you see them, you're used to them scaring the shit out of you, basically. And so I think it's important to speak openly about this kind of thing, because if this helps you at all, the only way to work through this thing is through an open dialogue of understanding. What I mean by that is, I know that when you're going through your addiction, it was the most important thing in your life. That's kind of how it works. Didn't start off that way, but it became that way. And you need to understand that it's not about you. You didn't do anything wrong. And these kind of interactions may feel complicated up here, but once you start getting used to doing it and you understand that they're going to need your support, maybe this will help guide you in the right direction. So I'm going to give you a couple of bullet points that I hope will help with this process. So here we go. Number one, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. There's nothing that you could do to have changed any of this stuff. If you're not directly involved with somebody's use, then don't blame yourself for it. This is their journey. Number two, if you've ever made this statement to the person that you care about that's in addiction, why don't you just quit? You are ill-informed, it's ignorant, and it's not helpful. Number three, they're not disabled. It's not like you're bringing them home on crutches. Don't treat them like you would your grandmother who just fell and broke her hip. That doesn't work, and it's insulting to them. Because if you care about this person and you've stuck it out with them, I know it's been difficult and you've been hurt, but they are hurt too. They've been hurting themselves for a long time. And if you stay on this journey with them, it's going to be easier if you're upfront about it and say, what is it that you need from me? If you care about these people at all, that's the approach you're going to take. What can I do for you? Be decisive when you're asking questions, but understand they're pretty beat up. Even still, like I said, the first year is tough. Don't nag them. Did you go to a meeting today? If the person is actively working on themselves, going to a meeting every day, which is helpful, but if they decide that they're going to take the dog for a walk, don't worry about them. You know them. You know their changes. If that keeps him or her or anybody from using, then let them take the dog for a walk. My friend Steve said to me one time, look, you can believe in the big burrito in the sky if that's your choice. That's fine. And he wasn't trying to insult religion. He was just, that's his sense of humor. But I remember him saying this directly to me when I was a client, and I've heard him say it to other clients when I worked with him, that if you can do something other than get trapped in your thoughts about using, about the thought of drinking, and go do something that takes that thought away, like petting your dog, as he said. If petting your dog keeps you sober, then pet your fucking dog. Snuggle that dog. Love that dog. You haven't loved it in a long time. You're feeling things now when you used to numb them. Because what happens is, yeah, you're numbing pain. That's what happens to a lot of people that have traumatic experiences. But you're also numbing love and joy. It's just the way it works. If you care about this person, that maybe you should take a look at your behavior too. If you want this to work, this is an all-in kind of thing. If you're not willing to make that commitment, the percentages of success for that person go down. That's why a lot of people go to sober living facilities, because they meet with a person like me. And I'm like, well, what's your home life like? Well, my girlfriend smokes weed. You think that's a safe environment for you? Most of them will be like, no. Okay, well, let's move you on to this thing before you're ready to go home, and maybe we work with that situation. Everybody's story is different, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm just giving you some advice of what I have found to be helpful to people in recovery. I now, in the time that I've had, I'm not really bothered by what anybody else does. Still a little bit sensitive when people are really shit-faced around me. Makes me uncomfortable, but it's probably not well, I know this. It's not because I want to engage. It's a reminder, this is important, it's a reminder of the person you used to be. So really, to summarize this conversation, it's not really clinical. I'm kind of giving you a behind-the-scenes look of what it's like to be a person in early recovery, what they feel, what they talk about, what they've learned, what they're trying to do. And if you care about this person, which you probably do, or you wouldn't be watching this, then you're looking for answers. And I don't have all the answers, but I know that some of them, I don't have all the answers, but I know that these things have worked over time. And I've seen relationships grow immensely stronger. You wanted these people to change. You want them to get better. They're doing it, but it doesn't happen overnight. They don't need to be coddled. They don't need to be reminded that they fucked up. They don't need to hear about your pain. They already know. They are so racked with guilt and shame that they're barely holding on. That's the thing that's actually detrimental. They need positive reinforcement. You love this person, they're asking for it. And if they're grumpy, it's part of it. Learn about post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Pause. P-A-W-S. Pause. Not meow. Pause. Post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Learn about it. It will help you to understand from a scientific standing what they're going through. It's a rebuilding and rewiring of the neural pathways. That's really what's going on upstairs. So if you want to understand your person who's in early recovery, then educate yourself. If you want to know anything in life, educate yourself. Nobody's going to give it to you. And hopefully this is helpful. But to summarize, don't blame, be there, be a human, love this person for who they are, try and meet them where they're at. And if you're feeling some kind of way, be honest about it, but don't attack, because I've seen people just completely throw their hands up and give up. And that's the saddest part, when they do a lot of work and then they go home. And man, they're home for a week and they fuck up. And for some people, it's a death sentence. Seen that happen too. And it's unnecessary. I've seen too many talented, loving human beings that start to come out of the storm, work their ass off, and they go home. I'm not saying this is you. I'm hoping that through this conversation, it isn't you. They go home and their family beats the shit out of them emotionally when they're already sensitive, and it has an adverse reaction. And they still think I'm a drunk. Fuck it. They get a case of the fuckers. I'm just going to go use. It's not the right thing. Just be aware that could happen. And you may be mad at them. All right, I get it. Your heart's broken. I get that too. I'm not minimizing how you feel. I want you to understand how they feel. That's what this is about. So hopefully this was helpful. That's my intention, just to speak plainly about it. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the content that's on this channel, please like it, please subscribe, and please share, because we want to get this message out. So thank you for watching Being Human.